is our new barn burner live stream. Going to talk about, should you slab Holy Grail albums or not? Mazzy met a dealer at the a vendor at the Austin Record Show today. VMG, Vintage Media Grading, that for $50 they slab your album and grade it. I'm sure that Beckett and the other ones charge a lot more than $50. I'd be scared to death to send this in a USPS mill right now, because I had 2 albums get damaged the other day. One of my Magical Mystery Tour German pressings got cracked in half. Halfway through this video, we're going to do a sealed reveal of this second pressing of Exile on Main Street to see if the gatefold cover, see if it has the postcards in it, see if it's a Monarch pressing, see if it's got Artesian logo in the 4 sides of the dead wax. Put that aside for now. Throw me some questions. All right, I'll go through these. These are the Holy Grails that I have. Whether you slab them or not, that is the question. I'm thinking about it. This is the Second State butcher cover I opened up on the last live stream. Already had an interested buyer on it. Wanted to know if there was any breaks in the shrink. I told him there wasn't any at all. Just a little bit of corner tip wear. That would be it on the bottom.
A little closer, good. See if it would quit doing that adjustment thing.
You got the foxing where the breathe hole is, but that's because it's 58 years old. You're going to have a little bit of aging, but that proves its original factory breathe hole. There's one down here too.
Sorry, y'all. Just keep, like, I don't know, last time it kept readjusting. I was trying to find a way.
Is it all right now?
It did a little bit. I think it's all
right. That was our picture.
Wolfie Baby said hi, Frank.
Wolfie Baby did a good job on that Let It Be video. Even though you didn't open it live, it was your second time opening it, but you kind of improvised. Did a good job. Rachel's Ghost did a little short on whether introducing the Beatles authentic or not. Did a little dance to, I saw her standing there. I gave her a way to go, Rachel. Rachel's been giving me some shout outs. I appreciate that. She was interviewed. She was on Mean Mr. Mayo's channel yesterday. And she gave me and the Peanut Gallery gave me several shout outs during Mr. Mayo's, Mean Mr. Mayo's coffee, his morning chat.
Wolfie Baby wants to know, Frank, do you know anybody who does nice frame jobs for that peeled butcher and slick?
We have a Michaels framing here. You want to get probably spend a couple $100, get a special frame that doesn't let the ultraviolet light in, because you don't want it to any sunlight to age that butcher cover. You're gonna have to spend some money, get it professionally framed. I sell a lot of my butchers and they have them professionally framed. Some people have shown me their frame. They frame the butcher cover and they frame the trunk slick and the record. They get it all on a great big frame and a copy of the Capitol recall letter.
KOWD says hi, Frank.
How you doing, Rich? Is that correct? You sent me a message a little bit ago. We appreciate you buying the sealed mono book you bought tonight on eBay. Factory sealed from the 2014 Beatles and Mono box set. And I told Rich the next time I buy a Beatles and Mono box set, I'd save the empty box for him.
Yes, it's Rich.
Rich. One buyer bought 7 of these today and another buyer bought 1, so almost all these have been sold today. This is about the 40th mono box set that I've sold, broke down and sold individually. The demand for these are just off the hook. I don't know if they're ever going to press it. It seemed like they would have done a repressing by now.
KRWD says, I bought those, Frank.
Oh, the 7 of them? All right. Way to go, Rip. You got a big double box. I got one special box I've used for butcher covers. I'll send them all out in on Monday. Pack them all tomorrow night. All right. This is my first state. And my second state, before I put them away. Like Mazzy said, these are the items you probably want to slab. Because you're never going to play the record. It's all about the cover, the art on the cover. Take this out one more time, the first state. Somebody was interested in that the other day. I had to prove it was authentic. I told him that Perry Cox, been doing this for almost 50 years. He would know if something was authentic or not. If you look at this, this is the one I peeled today, a butcher cover. If you put it up against the first state, you see how the butcher covers were trimmed 3/18 of an inch. Oh, I got a cardboard there. There you can see how it hangs over. This is untrimmed. And if you put a piece of tissue paper on here, wet, it wouldn't stick to any glue residue, where there's glue residue left on all the ones that I peel. I think I'm up to peeling about 200 butcher covers in my lifetime.
Ariana says, sorry I couldn't make the live today. Everybody subscribe, like, and hit the notification link.
All right, that sticker granddaughter making a message. Yeah, we got a lot of new viewers in the last month. I'm up like 100% on everything, but we still we're dropping on the percentage of people that are subscribed. Only about a third of people watching my videos are subscribed. We're approaching 1,500, but we'd blow that away if more people that watch my videos would give me a subscribe. I appreciate all the likes, but the subscribers help a lot. All right, first state, sealed second state, Holy Grails that should be slabbed. What do you think? Led Zeppelin turquoise. Should be slabbed. Not sure where the record is to it.
It's right behind that.
There it is. Oh, just drop that. Shit. This is the Led Zeppelin turquoise first pressing. So the problem, if you had this slab, you wouldn't be able to play this A1, B1 pressing that me and Jason Rojas thinks is the best sounding pressing that exists for Led Zeppelin 1. Jason Rojas is at the Austin record show. They showed him at dinner with across from the table from Wax. That had to be real interesting.
KRWD, imagine what 200 butchers would be worth.
200 butchers. My buddy Gary Hine in his lifetime peeled 3,000 butchers. So I figured a good 25 or 33% of his lifetime income when he was adult came from peeling butcher covers. All right, here's another one that probably should be slabbed because the band cover factory sealed of Rolling Stones Some Girls from 1978, because it's easy to find a first pressing of this that you can play, but it's getting real hard to find it with all the band women faces that the estates didn't like them being on this cover, this die cut cover. That's another one that probably should be slabbed. Butcher covers. Got this in today. a second state butcher cover stereo. They're real hard to find, the stereos. They're about 8 times rarer than mono. It's an East Coast #2. But the strange thing about it is, don't know if I'll be able to show it, but you can see it's offset, and you can see the printing of the Beatles yesterday and today, and you can see all the titles underneath on the butcher cover on not over the printing, so you can see a double printing on everything there. And that's the first time I've seen a butcher cover like that. So I may not peel this. I have another stereo coming in. I may just sell this the way it is. It's also offset there on the edge there where you can see the butcher cover peeking through on the edge. But look at those titles there. It's like double stamped. You can see all the titles underneath on the actual butcher cover.
KRWD said that is unique.
Yep.
Wolfie Baby says, I bought that the day it came out. Some girls, talking about some girls. And Lego Heisenberg, I believe I saw a signed Brian Jones photo on your page. How confident are you that it's real deal?
I did a lot of research on it. I'm pretty sure that he signed for, he was the leader of the band in the beginning, and if people asked for the Stones autograph, he knew how to fake all the rest of them. But the Brian Jones is real because it's on the front and the back of that fan club card from Rolling Stones from 1963. I'll give it my personal guarantee. If you find it's not right, I'll give you a full money back plus original shipping. I'm pretty sure it's a real deal. I'm close to selling that too. So that anyway, I thought that was a real unique second state butcher cover where you see the Beatles underneath there offset, and you see all the titles underneath also on the butcher cover. I've never seen one like that. They were slapping those things on as fast as they could. So this is the butcher cover I did several weeks ago, East Coast. It sold 1,555. It's going out Monday. This is the one I did 4 days ago. And this is the one I just did before I went to work today. It took me a couple hours. I got to do a little bit of touch-ups there on the edges with a #2 lead pencil. All right, let's put the butchers away. Somebody asked me on my one of my replies before I came home about an hour ago. They said, make sure you show one of those Dead Babies covers. I said, well, I think I'm going to show a few of them. They called it the Dead Babies cover. They've been listening to too much Alice Cooper or something. All right. Another item that probably should be slabbed. You saw this on my short the other day. The first album of the Beatles released in North America, November 1963, is the first pressing of Beatlemania from Canada. You can tell by the print there. And it's got litho in Canada right there and on the label. It's got no ASCAP or BMI, and it's not a -1 or anything. It's just the regular number on the matrix, YEX447, no -1. It's a loud cut. It's the first pressing of any Beatles album in North America. Canada was more confident than the United States in putting out the Beatles. That's the original inner sleeve for a late 1963 Capitol Records. Somebody was interested in that today. I sent him an offer of $299. Perry Cox sold a near mint one of these several weeks ago for $900 and some. My paste over sold earlier today. I'm not sure where it is on the Meet the Beatles. Here it is. My paste over sold for $177 earlier today. This is the same one that Joe Mayo showed on his short video the other day, except they only had a little bit of it back like that. But I peeled the whole thing off because I know how to steam peel these off. And it's the Waring blend, Fred Waring and the Pennsylvanians. So Capitol Records was using all their inventory of dead stock and using the covers to turn them into Meet the Beatles because they couldn't produce 4 million of them fast enough.
KRWD talking about the Beatlemania album. Frank, do you know if that album has the same songs as the VJ press?
This is the same, has the same 14 songs that the Please Please Me from the UK has. On introducing the Beatles, that was my next thing I was talking about. There was only 12 songs because on the first issue, they had Please Please Me and P.S. I Love You. And on the second issue, they had Please Please Me and Ask Me Why. So there are only 12 tracks on the Introducing the Beatles, where there's 14 on with the Beatlemania. So this is another item that probably should be slabbed. My ad back. Because it's not really about the music. It's about that art on that cover. This is the first cover slick that was made in North America in the summer of 1963 in July. VJ Records made 6,000 of them. They all have printed in the USA. I have a blank back coming in the next week. I'll have for my next live stream. So they said the Beatles would never sell in America. They put 6,000 in storage. And then when they heard Meet the Beatles was going to be released, they had a board meeting and they said, heck with it. We got to get this released right away. So on January 9th, Introducing the Beatles was released in 1964. So they used all those 6,000 slicks that they had in storage. And you know if you have one, if it says that printed in the USA, right there on the edge.
KRWD says Rachel did a short explaining how to spot a fake version of that.
Yeah, but somebody replied in Rachel Ghost short that you can tell by George's shadow if it's real or not, and that's not true. A lot of the counterfeits have this shadow on here. So, but she was right saying that the Beatles have to be above the spindle hole like this is. Introducing the Beatles and above the spindle hole, and this has stereo at the 12 o'clock position.
KRWD said, yep, above the spindle.
And this is the original version 2. It's still in the factory shrink. It's pretty amazing. Never seen. I think it's the only second time I've ever had this cover in this kind of shape. No rub wear at all down there at on Paul's arm. And it's got to have all the printing on A Taste of Honey on the counterfeits. It's missing a little bit of ink on the top of the N on Taste of Honey. That's amazing condition for a version 2 from February of 1964. It's got the bracket label.
Daniel Castillo, I think VJ would have showed the Beatles catalog more respect.
You think so? But they did sell 1.5 million at least of this version 2 in the early first half of 1964. It was number 2 behind the Meet the Beatles on the charts for a long time. Good to have you back, Daniel Costello. We didn't hear from you last stream.
Capitol wanted to make decisions for the Beatles.
Yeah, they had Dave Dexter that kept turning them down and said that the Beatles, She Loves You and Please Please Me would never sell, and She Loves You would never sell in America. And Dave Dexter kept vetoing it. And finally, Brian Epstein called Alan Livingston, the president of Capitol Records, and he brought David Dexter up to his office, and they played "I Want to Hold Your Hand." And Alan Livingston and his wife, she's a famous actress, June Lockhart, I think it is, June, not sure the last name, but anyway, correct me if what her last name is, but she was an actress, and she loved "I Want to Hold Your Hand" and said it'd be a hit, and Alan Livingston says, start pressing them. But they were going to wait until January before they released it, but they moved it up. They worked over Christmas vacation because of the Washington, D.C. Carol Jacobs that played "I Want to Hold Your Hand," a UK copy, and the demand was so every radio station across the United States wanted a copy of that tape because everybody was requesting "I Want to Hold Your Hand." So they started making them Christmas vacation on 1963, and they started getting the records out as fast as they could.
We got 4 comments. KRWD, I think he's saying that introducing the Beatles, that's not a cheap album.
That's the introducing the Beatles, or the ad back is $4,000. If it was mint, it'd be over $10,000.
Daniel Castillo, well, they turned Rubber Soul into Mr. Tambourine Tribute.
They turned Rubber Soul
into Mr. Tambourine Tribute.
Tribute to the Byrds?
Yeah.
I think Bob Dylan had a lot to influence Rubber Soul. It's a folk rock album, especially the USA.
KRWD, June Lockhart.
That's it. I had the name right.
Played Timmy's mom on Lassie.
And she was married to Alan Livingston, correct?
And then Whoopie Baby, Daniel Castillo, the president of VJ, had financial problems, I believe, due to gambling.
Yeah. VJ. Not sure his name, but he kept going to Las Vegas and gambling the VJ's profits, and he lost a lot. All right, some notes, and then I'll show some other things. Talked about slabbing. Went to Live Aid in 1986 when I owned a record store in Fairfield, Ohio, Horizon Records and Tapes. And it cost me $150 for each seat. That was a scalp price to go to Live Aid. It was probably a $50 ticket, and it was an all-day show. We had to sleep in the airport because all the hotel rooms were booked to get back home. And then there was a Led Zeppelin reunion that they don't have on the Live Aid DVD box set because it was they didn't do much rehearsing, and Jimmy Page was pretty messed up at the time, and Phil Collins flew from London to Philadelphia to be in both parts of the Live Aid, and him and they were pretty sloppy on the drums. It just didn't go over very good at all. It wasn't a very good Led Zeppelin reunion, but they did a great reunion and celebration day there in 2008.
Wolfie Baby said, just checked my Beatlemania Matrix -4, -5 mono, plays great.
All right, Wolfie Baby.
Yeah. That Lego Heisenberg, where do you get your records from?
I buy on the internet. I know when the Holy Grails are going off, or if one goes up there on the internet, I try to make a deal real quick to see if I can end the auction. It doesn't always work. There was a Beatle, Beatlemania clippings and book magazines the other day on eBay. It was put up for $50 starting bid, but they had like 20 pictures, and I went to the end of them, and I saw there was a bunch of wrappers for bubblegum cards, and there was a parking pass that you hung in your car when you saw the Beatles at Los Angeles Dodger Stadium in 1966. And I know that one piece is worth several $100s. So I offered him $100 for a quick sale, and he said fine, and I got it right away. So I put a lot of research, a lot of time into pursuing All these things I get a hold of. The Rolling Stones at New Orleans Jazz Fest a couple days ago, May 2nd. I kind of get on the Keith Richards a little sloppy now on guitar, but to see these 80-year-old men and Mick Jagger out there prancing around, and he works out every day and his voice is still pretty good. I'm amazed they're able to pull it off. What do you think on that? The Mike McGear, I showed the record, the 45 the other day I got from Mr. Paul George in New Jersey. I got the promo record for Leave It and the unreleased song that wasn't on the album, Sweet Baby. That's how they made promo records in the 70s in England. They just had an A on the side that they played. But this is it's almost a Wings album. The Wings are all over this album. You can see them in small. There's Paul McCartney there. There's the rest of Wings right there. Denny Lane and Jimmy McCullough and the band. And this is a great album. Mike McGear. It's pretty much an unreleased Wings album. I mean, it was released, but not as Paul McCartney and Wings. And one other thing about Mr. Macca, Mr. Paul McCartney, I heard this on my music system today at the store. There's certain songs of his have aged well over the years. Silly Love Songs, Good Night Tonight, Say, Say, Say. Still has people dancing in the aisles there at the grocery store. So he was kind of ahead of his time on some of these songs. This is the 12-inch version of Good Night Tonight. It's a long version of it. It's called the Disco Single, and it's 7 minutes and 25 seconds. A little longer than Hey Jude. Not the same as Stairway to Heaven. They told Jimmy Page and Paul McCartney you can't have a single that's 7 minutes long, and they said, watch me.
KRWD, yep, I like the Wings too.
Yep, it has aged well, I'd say. This is almost a Wings album. Also, Denny Lane, Holly Days. Paul and Denny Lane sing a lot of Buddy Holly tracks on this one. The young crowd hardly knows who Buddy Holly was, unless they hear the song American Pie. Some of those artists from the 50s that used to be real collectible, Buddy Holly, Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, they're not as collectible as they were at one time. And there's people out there that say that's going to happen to the Beatles, and I say the Beatles break the rules. They have teenagers discover Stairway to Heaven and the Hey Jude every day. The Beatles are never going to fall out of favor. What do you think?
Lego Heisenberg says, do you usually do any other bands, genres, or do you stick to Beatles, Stones, and Led Zeppelin?
I stick to those three because I try to find the best audiophile pressings of their great albums, and that takes most all my efforts, all my time. Like somebody sent me pictures of a bunch of Mr. Joe of 45s of pressings of the Beatles, but they weren't high end. I said, I'm kind of late in the game now, Joe. I just want to go after high end items now. So, talked about that. Pepsi Radio. One time I have some booths at the Antique Toy Mall here in Louisville, Kentucky on Blue Lick. And I have 2 booths out there. I'm going out there tomorrow morning. And one time, gentleman went in there and they got a hold of me. He had 2 Pepsi radios complete in the boxes that his dad worked for that radio company back in the 60s, and he had 2 of them, and I offered him $500 a piece for them. They were complete, and he said that wasn't enough. And then on eBay yesterday, one of those went for $2,000. The Pepsi radio, AM radio they used when they first came to Washington, to New York and Washington, D.C. on February 1964. So those Pepsi radios that they're holding on to when they're in their limousine, that's the radio that went for $2,000 the other day. All right, that's pretty much my notes. Are we about the halfway where I can open this Exile on Main Street?
Yeah, we're at 30 minutes.
I need that cutter from the other room. We're going to talk about one more Holy Grail. You want to help me with the Star Wars? I got 2 interested people on this Holy Grail. The Star Wars poster, there's probably only a few left in the world. I sent out an offer of $6,500, and if I don't sell it in the next 2 weeks, I'm selling it on consignment. It goes back to the 80-year-old lady that lives here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'm trying to sell it. If you notice that Star Wars, it's a Mylar poster that's on the Star Wars. The W is an upside down M. This came out in 1976, a year. This poster was created a year before Star Wars came out.
Daniel Castillo said, "What American artist do you listen to?"
American artists. Daniel Castillo. I like a lot of American artists. I like the Beach Boys. I like the Knack. The Pixies, are they American? I like the Pixies a lot. We just gotta be real careful with this. We gotta get this taped up right.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take it out of here.
All right, Exile on Main Street. What other American artists do I like a lot? From the 60s. Ooh, some real big bands in the 60s. Paul Revere and the Raiders, they were okay. But the Beach Boys, I liked them a lot at the beginning, all the way up to Surf's Up and their big one, Pet Sound. I saw the Beach Boys several times in concert. I got Brian Wilson's autograph several times.
Alright, where we at on this stuff? Let's see. KRWD Roy Orbison is on my top 5.
Yeah, I went to the Roy Orbison tribute in 1992. I talked about that, where I saw Bob Dylan. And when we were on the way to Los Angeles, the rumor was all about George Harrison was going to show up that night, but he didn't.
Wolfie Baby says you gotta love CCR.
Yeah, CCR. That's a great band. But they pretty much took the place of... when the Beatles were breaking up, they took the place on the charts where the Beatles were, and Led Zeppelin really didn't do singles, so CCR had singles all the time on the charts. But they had so many number 2s, they had a hard time getting a number 1 song.
Clock Radio said The Doors.
Doors, yep, Jim Morrison and the Doors. Loved the first few albums of the Doors.
Wolfie Baby said, and Skinner or the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, Skinner and Allman Brothers. Yeah.
Lego Heisenberg, the doors of the 13th floor elevators are...
I saw Grateful Dead with Jerry Garcia back in the 80s. All right, this is that sealed, which I think is a 1973 gatefold cover because it has a hype sticker on the front. We're going to see if it's the right pressing, if it has the postcards. Here we go. And be real careful opening it up. All right, here we go.
KRWD said drum roll, please.
Drum roll. Da 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 da. It is a gatefold cover. They all have the same inner sleeve. It doesn't look like it has postcards. So they only had that in the Unipack. Don't see any postcard. No postcards. All right, we're going to see what pressing it is. Let's cross our fingers as Monarch. because that's the best sounding from Los Angeles. These rough inner sleeves weren't good for handling these records. It's been 50 years old. It's got Rolling Stone records. It's a Monarch. Way to go, Mr. Sticker Mania. Hallelujah. Ammo Monarch.
Wolfie Baby said, wow, didn't know they did one on 45 RPM. I'd rather prefer 33s. Question mark.
On the what?
Was he talking about that?
No, this is 33.
I'm confused.
But this is a first pressing record. It's got Artesian logo in the dead wax on side 1. It has Rocks Off. A mint unwarped player record with a Monarch pressing.
WD gave you claps.
All right, let's make sure the other one's a Monarch too. Gonna have to switch this to MoFi sleeves after the live stream. These inner sleeves were that and physical graffiti. They were not good for these records. Monarch on the other one too. Rolling Stone records, Artesian logo on dead wax of all 4 sides. The ultimate pressing on Exile on Main Street. What a great double album. Sweet Virginia, one of my favorite songs of all time. So many people have covered Sweet Virginia. That was a good sealed reveal. Only thing is, I guess I'll have to buy a set of postcards to go with it.
Wolfie Baby said, are the postcards hard to find?
You have to have a Unipack pressing. Somebody put one up for $42 today. Well, the records weren't that good, but it had all 12 postcards attached, and I almost bought it. But if it's still available, I'll snap it up because I can put the postcards with this pressing.
The Lego Heisenberg.
The postcards are worth over $42 if they're all attached, all 12 of them.
Lego Heisenberg, he said, oh man, did it sell? So I don't know if he's talking about that autograph earlier or if he's talking what.
What sold?
That's why I'm not sure. When he just said, oh man, did it sell? So I wasn't sure which one he's talking about.
Tell us which one you're talking about. All right, some new arrivals. Then I'll give him some notes of what I sold and my purchase history. I got a lot of Holy Grails coming in the next week. I never stop buying. Problem is, sometimes many days I spend more than I sell. But I had my best month I ever had on eBay the last month, and that's pretty good considering my buddy Kevin from Kevin Records thinks that vinyl records are kind of the peak is falling off a little bit. But what I deal with, I don't think it's falling off.
Lego said he's talking about the Exile.
Exile has not sold. It's up there for, I sent some offers at $244, unplayed Monarch pressing with a hype sticker. I'll try to snap up those postcards tomorrow and put that with that listing. So this is a real nice cover of a 1964 VJ souvenir of their visit to America with no seam splits. And they were VJ was making these so fast that these slicks usually didn't match up on the edges. This one's matched up pretty good. Usually they're crooked right here. They sold 1 million of these. They were even offering them for 49 cents if you bought a bag of chips or something in the grocery stores. You got one of these really cheap. Got this Rolling Stones picture sleeve in today. I snapped up the auction that went off earlier today. John Lennon's Mother picture sleeve, one of the toughest solo picture sleeve to get besides George Harrison's Love Comes to Everyone. I think that's the title that goes for thousands of dollars. But I snapped it. I got the auction of the Mother picture sleeve in excellent condition tonight for $222. A tough picture sleeve to get because that song didn't sell very much. This is a tough one to get. 1964 Rolling Stones, The Last Time. This blue picture sleeve will really is easy to show record impression, ring wear real easy, but this one somehow was stored pretty good over the years. Brian Jones there. He didn't last as leader of the band very long. By this time, I think Mick and Keith had pretty much took over. And then when Satisfaction came out, all bets were off. All right, some other new releases. Got this in today, or a couple days ago. A program for Beatles. I think it's April 1963 in the United Kingdom. Right after Ringo hadn't been in the group too long. Well, yeah, he'd been in it. But this is right when Please Please Me became #1. The backup groups were you got Mike Berry, Ian Crawford. He also had the Foremost that recorded a Beatles song, Hello Little Girl. That's a nice early program of the Beatles before they were Beatlemania had completely taken over in England. You saw my brunch bag on a short the other day with my young sticker granddaughter. I sold the brunch bag for $3.99. I still have the thermos. I think it's $3.99 on my 2853 eBay store.
Lego wants to know, do you guys ever do bootlegs?
No, eBay frowns on bootlegs. You can slide one in there. I call them underground albums, but I'd rather just stay away from them. I usually sell, if I have a couple I'm putting out at the Toy Mall tomorrow. A John Lennon bootleg telecast and a Beatles The Silver Lining. But I'd rather not get in trouble on eBay. Got these in.
Daniel asked, did Caesar get a bootleg?
Caesar?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he bought. I had something I sold of a bootleg when I first got that Tennessee collection. It was a rare one. I can't remember what it was. This is a good live Rolling Stones album from 1966, except some of it has just a studio track with a fake audience in the back, but about half of the songs are really live. The Rolling Stones were almost impossible to record live at that time because the crowd would go crazy. They'd throw the chairs, they would try to jump on stage, and usually the police would cancel the show after about halfway through. It just became chaos. So to make a good recording of the Rolling Stones in 1966 was almost impossible. It's got the hype sticker recorded live in concert at the Royal Albert Hall in London, but I think that was a mistake. I don't think this was really from Royal Albert Hall, but that's what they put on the hype sticker. But that's in the shrink, beautiful condition. Let It Be, Wednesday, my next live stream. The Let It Be will be on Disney Plus on Wednesday. All us Beatle freaks can't wait. I saw it in the movie theater. It was grainy, 35 millimeter, 16 millimeter blown up to 35 millimeter. It didn't translate very good in the movie theater. This is supposed to be a really good remaster done by Peter Jackson. Just hoping Peter Jackson comes out with these Star Club tapes that he bought the recordings of, and he cleans it up, because John Lennon and George Harrison always said that you hadn't really heard the Beatles live until you heard them in Hamburg. So if he does a professional job of cleaning up those tapes, it'll be pretty amazing.
Daniel wants to know, do you want a physical release of Let It Be?
Yes. It's only 80 minutes long. I saw a video today on YouTube where they showed the Beatles attending a screening of the first print of Let It Be, which was 2.5 hours long. and they're all pretty sad watching it. But after it was over, 3 of the Beatles, Paul, George, and Ringo, said it can't be released 2.5 hours long. They wanted a lot of the Yoko parts taken out, so the 2.5 hour movie became less than 90 minutes after they edited out a lot of the John and Yoko parts in the movie. So that's a pretty amazing story. So you got the Let It Be laser disc that I've shown several times, and the factory shrink Pioneer video incorporated from Japan. This was the ultimate way to watch the movie, but this will be not very good after Wednesday. Perfect laser disc. I got a laser disc player in the other room with my Beta Hi-Fi. No laser rot on this. All the bootlegs that you see on DVD and everything was made off of one of these laser discs. I've had the video disc several times before too, with the unique artwork. What's your other questions on Let It Be? We're finally going to get to see the promos of 2 of Us, Long and Winding Road, and Let It Be in their complete form, where Peter Jackson didn't show that.
No one's ever gave their opinion on slabbing either, if they think.
Yeah. Do you guys think I should slab my Holy Grails? Because I'm thinking of doing it. But I don't want, I guess I have to wait till they come to town or something here in Louisville. Because I don't want to send one of those expensive albums in the USPS mail right at the moment. All right, that's the Let It Be Naked Sealed from 2003. If you want to hear the Let It Be the way Paul McCartney says it should be listened to without the Phil Spector wall of sound that he added. But Let It Be would have never been #1. And also, All Things Must Pass would have been never the hits they were. 4 million copies each if didn't have that Phil Spector production. So you can complain it all you want. In 1970, we loved the Phil Spector wall of sound. Abbey Road. I got a Misaligned Abbey Road coming in on Monday from the UK. If I had enough UK Abbey Roads, it's like the butcher cover. You could sell them every day of the week because every generation from 16 to 70 years old wants a good copy of Abbey Road. It was recorded before Let It Be, or it was recorded after Let It Be, but it wasn't released. It was released before Let It Be, because Let It Be didn't get released for a couple of years, 1.5 years.
Lego Heisenberg said you said slab, like the way they do comics and cards?
Yes. They encase it in plastic, so it's graded and encased in a big plastic holder. It'll have a grade up here on top. What they grade this Led Zeppelin turquoise. So it's preserved that way forever. And that Star Wars poster I showed, they have it linen backed, and then they put it in a professional frame so it's preserved forever in that condition. Same with all these Holy Grail albums.
And Daniel said Lennon never liked the medley.
Lennon did not like the medley, but it was Paul McCartney's baby. And Lennon's got a couple of tracks on the medley. He's got Sun King, Mean Mr. Mustard. I guess that's the only 2 that he's got that are in the medley. But he's got Come Together on one, and I Want You on side 1. So Lennon's involved in Abbey Road, but he didn't like the medley. You're right. All right, German pressings. Made a deal today from Gary. likes to buy my audiophile pressings. He was blown away when he got a German pressing of Please Please Me. He had never heard Please Please Me sound like that before. Thought I had it here, but I don't see it. Here it is. It's got the same matrix -2 that Dub Beatles has, and the Germans in the 70s took those master tapes and they just made magic with them with their equipment and the way they added less compression, and they just made this a real rock and roll album, Please Please Me. But he bought my Help German pressing, and he bought my Sgt. Pepper late 1970s pressing on Apple, where they added a little extra bass bottom end to Mr. Paul McCartney, one of the greatest bass players that walked the planet Earth. They have a little short video. They always talk about how Paul won't sign autographs anymore, but in 2023 he was in a foreign country and they kept yelling at him when he got out of his limousine. They said, "There's only 7 of us, Paul, there's only 7 of us." And they yelled it about 3 times, and Paul looked over that way, and with his bouncers he walked over there and signed autographs for all 7 of those people just a year ago. So you got to give Paul some props.
So Lego talking about slabbing, I don't know about that. Kind of mixed on it. I'd say maybe consider doing it for records you know the average person will never come across again.
Like the Second State Butcher Cover. How many of these from factory seal from 1966 do you think are left in the world? Can't be more than 50 of them. Same with that First State. There can't be more than 100 of those.
Wolfie Baby said, does the Beatles sound as good as the 70s pressing of Please Please Me?
This is made with the same cutting as the Beatles. This Please Please Me from Germany, 1977. Wolfie, if you haven't heard Please Please Me, a German pressing from the 70s, you need to get one. It ranks right up there, right behind Magical Mystery Tour, Horzu. And I was playing this the other day, and my granddaughter was amazed at the sound of this German pressing of Sgt. Pepper.
KRWD said, Paul is actually a billionaire now.
Yep, Paul is a billionaire. Him and Taylor Swift and who else? This is an Australian pressing. Mr. Daniel Costello, since you're on here and you had a Beatles for sale returned to me that had a skip on 8 days a week, you need to get this. Send me a message and I'll send you a good offer on it. You'll love it. You've never heard the Beatles for sale in its full glory until you hear this late 1977 Australian pressing done by Mr. Don Bartley. All right, what else do I have to show? Daniel Costello was talking about the Let It Bleed I had in fold down mono. I have a stereo pressing now, Daniel. UK 1970 pressing stereo of the great Let It Bleed. You got Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed, Sticky Fingers, and Exile on Main Street with Mick Taylor. They were on top of their game. Stereo pressing of Let It Bleed. And they didn't have the poster in the 1970 pressing. They only did that in the 1969. It doesn't have the little hole where you can see if it's mono or stereo. Did I show all my new stuff? I sold both of my red and blue albums on those box sets. I don't know if I have one of them in here. Anyway, Somebody that said I was selling these slipcases of the albums on the red and blue vinyl. I sold both of them in the last 2 days for $200 a piece. They are out of print. This is a CD, but I sold both album box sets. Haven't sold my play tape yet and the shipping box. Got a lot of interested watchers on it. It will sell before long. I sent offers out at $300. Pretty rare to have the original shipping box from Japan that held 4 of these inside it. When they were trying to come out with new formats that you could play in your car. Got a CD collection in the other day. I got it over there on the stairs. You can bring the rest of those factory sealed CDs. Somebody bought a bunch of Beatles CDs factory sealed from the last 15 years and put them on eBay. And I got a hold of all of them for $10 a piece. I thought that was a bargain. You got the red, you got the blue, you got the Past Masters that has all the singles that weren't on the 13 original Beatle albums from the United Kingdom. You even have the 2018 of the Beatles with the white album with the Escher demos. Not sure how many CDs are in this.
You're talking this box?
Yeah, yeah. Factory sealed Beatles CDs. I got them all. Put a lot of them at the toy mall tomorrow. Got Please Please Me, the remastered version from 2009. Got Beatles 65, Magical Mystery Tour. Got Beatles for Sale, the UK version, Revolver. All these are factory sealed 2009 remasters. You got Let It Be. You even got 8 Days a Week. That's the Live at Hollywood Bowl with the extra tracks of all my, You Can't Do That, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby, and Babies in Black. It's the best live ever release of the Beatles was that Beatles of the Hollywood Bowl. You even got the Yellow Submarine soundtrack that has the remix tracks. That Mazzy thinks this is one of the best remix Beatle albums ever. Better than Giles Martin. And the person that was involved with this was a son of the Hollies guy, Hicks, Tony Hicks. I'm not coming up with his first name, but he helped remix this. The son of the Hollies guitarist. Got Abbey Road, Sgt. Pepper. This is the 2017 anniversary remix by Giles Martin. You got early Beatles. Just keeps on going. How many I got of these? Rubber Soul, Beatles for Six. That's American. You got the regular Sgt. Pepper remaster. You got Help. You even have the Beatles 1. Supposed to be the best way to hear Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane. New stereo remixes. I'm tempted to play that in my car. I'm sure it's got some amazing mixes on it. And the last one, it's got the yesterday and today that if you take this slick off, it'll show the butcher cover underneath it. So that was pretty amazing to get all those sealed Beatles CDs for under $10 a piece. Where are they? You didn't
I
have
took the box back.
That's right.
Shit. Had to send them in.
Let's see if I showed everything. We have about an hour. Got any final questions for me?
He's in there.
I got a top loader white album coming in from the United Kingdom Monday or Tuesday that we'll have on the next live stream. I think I showed the sticky fingers. I got to get a hold of more. The German pressings. The demand for the German pressing is sticky fingers with the Doug Sachs cut. That's another one of those I could sell every day of the week. I didn't bring my Led Zeppelin 2 today. Somebody offered me $750 for my Monarch pressing, a very good plus condition of Led Zeppelin 2, the RL SS Hot Mix. And I told him his offer was too low. He said he'd get back to me Monday. I'm not going to sell that for less than $1,000.
Is it a mono UK white album?
I have a stereo, one of the very first stereo pressings of the white album that has no EMI recording on the label. That was a mistake. So one of the records, record 1 has the EMI recording, and record 2 does not have it on either label. All right, I think unless you guys got any questions, I think that is it for tonight. Hopefully you like my unboxing of the Seal to Reveal on Exile on Main Street, and my questions on should Holy Grail albums be slabbed.
He said need a mono. It's my wish list.
Mono, yeah, I've had the mono a couple times. It is a heck of a pressing, but it costs close to $1,000 in nice shape, Wolfie.
KRWD said nice stuff, Frank.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris, right? Rich. Thanks a lot, Rich. Thanks a lot for buying those the 2014 albums. I'll get them out Monday, professionally double boxed. And thanks from Louisville, Kentucky on Derby night. And see you next Wednesday, Let It Be night.